Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here to talk about just a few medicinal herb picks for 2018. And I'm doing this video as part of a collaboration with Sarah from Living Traditions Homestead, and Tessie from Homestead Tessie, and Rachel from Spend Smart Live Happy. And so be sure to check out all of those channels, which I will link to in the description box below, and see what they have to say on their top picks or their medicinal picks for 2018. Now keep in mind, I do plan on doing another video on, I think I'm going to do maybe the top 15 picks of herbs that I recommend you consider growing in your garden. So there are herbs that will do a lot of the same things, that will grow better in some places than others. And so maybe some people can grow marshmallow real well, but maybe they can grow pansies better, and there's very similar medicinal properties between the two. And I'm going to be talking about both of those today, just a little bit. Now I do already have videos out on both of those, so I recommend you check those out, and I'll go ahead and link them one at a time up here in the corner so that you can check them out for yourselves. But I will go ahead and talk about some of the medicinal properties of each and how I use them. So as you can see, I chose this location, and I'm telling you, it's really cold today, and this is the last somewhat decent day that we're going to have for at least a good 10 days. It's going to be nothing but rain from here on out. So I had to get out here and shoot this while I could. And I do have my little pansy garden started here. I like to grow pansies all over the place. This is probably one of the main areas I like to grow them. Pansies tend to like just kind of not too much sun, but they do like to have some, so it's important that they get some light. And this area always gets morning light, and so my pansies tend to do pretty decently right here most of the year. Now I have not got to a point yet where I'm growing pansy from seed. I've tried on a couple occasions. I need to work on that one some more. I'm thinking what I need to do. I mean, I've even taken seed off of my pansies and saved it and just put it right in the ground so it could stratify over the winter, and still nothing. And so it's still a work in progress. So all of these that you see were ones that I bought this year. I do have pansies coming up from last year. Pansies are perennial and they can keep coming back, but I noticed they're a little bit temperamental. I'll get some that will come back maybe 2-3 years in a row, and then suddenly they stop coming back, and some that never come back. And so I always end up buying more each year. But you know, I do grow a lot of things from seed, and I don't mind having a few things that I have to replace every year. And I love pansies, and I get to change it up each year. Now, one of the reasons I really love pansies is they come in so many beautiful colors, and you can really just add a lot of vibrancy to your garden this way. And I'm all about not just medicinal herbs, but things that can also make my garden look beautiful, because that in its own way is medicinal. It's because it's soothing to the soul, I think. You know, you can go out into your garden and just see all these beautiful colors, and it just makes me happy. So seeing all these, even though they're new, and I've got a couple that are only just starting to get flowers on them, I just love looking at this. And this is only some of them. I have a basket hanging up there with some more with the purple. They're kind of this color but darker, a little deeper, and they're a bigger pansy. One thing I do want to point out, that the ones that are going to be the most medicinal are going to be your smaller ones, sometimes known as heart ease, wild pansy, or most commonly its scientific name is viola tricolor. And obviously, because typically these ones are going to have 3 colors. Your more single color ones, the big cultivated ones, aren't going to have as many medicinal properties as your smaller ones, and these are usually easier to grow. I have found the bigger ones tend to do better for me though than the smaller. However, I grow them all and I use them all the same way. Now pansies and marshmallows do, like I said, have similar properties in that they're both very good for colds and flus. They're both very soothing. They have demulcent properties to them, so they're soothing to anything internally and externally. So they're good for things for psoriasis, eczema, and the like. And I don't have any marshmallows in bloom or anything right now because they don't bloom until summer, so I can't show you those. But I'll go ahead and insert a picture right here of some marshmallows from last year in my garden. And I'll go ahead and link to the marshmallow video right here that I did last summer, so where I'm actually out in the garden and showing them on videotape what they look like and talking more about their different health benefits. Now I will read to you, since in those videos I just talked about this stuff, I'm going to go ahead and pick a couple of my different medicinal herb books and read to you about these things, starting with the marshmallow. And I'll be reading just a bit out of Rosemary Gladstar's book, one of the ones I most highly recommend, and because it's just a great beginner's guide, and it's just got a lot of really beautiful pictures in it. And so just a rough overview of some of the medicinal properties that they have. Typically it's the root that's used, but the leaves are also edible and medicinal. But the root is going to have your highest form of medicinal properties in it. Marshmallow is a popular medicine for soothing all manner of inflamed tissue. It is specific for treating inflamed and irritated tissues of the respiratory system, digestive system, and skin, and particularly useful for soothing irritation and inflammation in the bowel. It is probably the most well known for its soothing actions on the bladder and kidneys, and is an important ingredient in many formulas for treating bladder and kidney infections, and it helps neutralize excess acid in the stomach, making it useful in cases of stomach ulcer. So that's just a few of the benefits of the marshmallow. And now to the pansies real quick. This one is out of the Energetics of Western Herbs. And again, a very thorough book, not as colorful, but there's 2 of these books in the set, and because of that, it's more just very, very information based. And where, you know, Rosemary Gladstar's book will also, with each herb that she talks about, she includes a little bit of history and on the herb, and some recipes that you can use those herbs in, different medicinal recipes, whether it be tinctures or salves or anything like that. Okay, just the parts of the body it's good for, and that it's helpful to: lungs, nerves, skin, joints, kidney, bladder, lung, and heart. It is good for helping things like I mentioned with, like, for skin, eczema, cradle cap, impetigo, psoriasis, acne, hives, scabies, syphilis, herpes. Also good for things like hemorrhoids, gout, and more. It goes on. It's a long list. I'm trying to keep this somewhat short. Other things for cold and flu. Now again, I'm talking about these over here. Cold and flu for the onset, to also help with coughing and muscle aches, for croup, and in general infections. And so there's just a few of the things. Now again, you can learn a little bit more by looking at my other videos that I have about that, and I highly recommend getting your hands on some good medicinal herb books. Now, ways that I use both the marshmallow and the pansy, it's very similar. In fact, I use the marshmallow leaves and the and flowers, but there's more medicinal properties in the leaves. There's not a whole lot in the flowers, but they're both edible. And then the pansy flowers in my infused oil that I use to make my homemade skin cream. And it's been a very popular skin cream. It's hard for me to keep it in stock on my Etsy store. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, I'll have more in stock. Right now I'm sold out at the time of shooting this video. But I do that because the pansy and the marshmallow just have so many really great skin benefiting properties that it just makes sense to have it in there. I also put calendula in there and some rose petals because those are also very great for the skin. But I'm not talking so much about calendula today, but that is one of the other herbs I grow. And so I love them in my infused oil, and I do have a video on how I make my infused oil, and I'll go ahead and link to that right up here. And I also like to use them both in teas, and especially the pansies for flavor. They just have this nice sort of wintergreen flavor, especially right at the base. Like if you were to eat this flower straight, we're going to taste right there at the base. You're going to get that, a little bit of that wintergreen flavor, and in the leaves. The leaves are also edible. Some people don't realize that, but all aerial parts of the pansy are edible. And then as far as the marshmallow, all parts of it are edible. So these make really great teas. And what I found is if I mix the pansy, the marshmallow leaves, and a little bit of fresh peppermint into a tea in the summertime, I might have a video about that, I don't recall, but if I do, I'll go ahead and link to that right up here. But I'll probably be doing more herbal tea videos soon. And because in the summertime is when I love using the fresh herbs, because to me they have much more flavor to them. You have to put a lot more in to make a good tea, but they have more flavor than the dried herbs. And so those three together, the pansy, the marshmallow, and that just a little bit of peppermint, for some reason the combination just makes this wonderful tea that tastes almost like marshmallow. Even though to me the marshmallow leaf doesn't taste like a marshmallow confectionery treat that you would buy. But in case you don't know that, that is why marshmallows get their name, because originally marshmallow, the plant, was combined with eggs and sugar to make a confectionery treat, though it wasn't the same as the kind of marshmallows that you make that you roast over a fire. To get that kind of consistency, you have to add a gelatin of some sort. And I have made them before using both the gelatin and the marshmallow root to make a marshmallow that's actually has a firmer consistency. But the original version was more of a, it'd probably be more similar to that marshmallow cream like you can buy in the store, but much healthier, because as you know, real sugar, not corn syrup, and real marshmallow instead of, you know, gelatin that comes from whoever knows what it comes from. So mostly what I'm talking about here when it comes to the pansies and the marshmallows are the top three things that I use these in. So I did mention the teas, and also in the skin cream, but that also, I also use that same infused oil when I make my lip balm as well. So anything skin related, I'm going to use those on, and having it in that infused oil just gives it a lot of different ways I can use it. But the third thing, getting to that finding, the flowers make a beautiful salad and add a lot of just color, that just wonderful pop of color, as well as you're still getting these great benefits and the that are in the flowers. And same thing with the marshmallow leaves. The marshmallow leaves, unlike some other certain herbal leaves, have just a nice flavor. It's a very mild, it's not at all bitter, and it goes well in salads. The leaves can get quite big and a little bit thick, but unlike the borage leaf that gets real spiky and it's kind of uncomfortable to eat, especially once it gets to a certain size, the marshmallow leaf is very soft but easy to chew. And then you have like the woolly lambsera that has a very soft leaf, but that's more like chewing on velvet, where the marshmallow leaf is still, it's not like chewing on fabric. It's just a real nice texture all the way around. And so I really enjoy it in salads. But you can also add any of these, and I've done this before, to anything you're going to cook. Your marshmallow leaves and flowers and your pansy leaves and flowers. You can just cut them up and stir fry them into whatever. So you're getting more color and more nutrients and making the most out of your plants. So again, about the whole idea of beauty. We want our gardens, you know, we can't help but want our gardens to look beautiful because it's pleasing to us visually. But you know, so a lot of people might think of adding all these beautiful flowers, but not even realize that these very beautiful flowers also have other uses than just to sit there and look at. And that's what I focus on. In fact, this year I'm starting primroses for the first time, where I'm growing them. I bought two. I got them sitting down here in a pot down here, and I'm probably going to get a couple more. And I do have more research to do on primroses now. This isn't specifically evening primrose. People know a lot about the evening primrose and the essential oil that comes from that. This is just primrose in general, and it is edible. And so I'll be doing some updates on that down the road. Now, one more herb I want to talk about as part of this collaboration was, I mentioned two that I have been growing for years and that I use regularly. I mean, every day these things are getting used in some form. But another one that I do actually use, but I have not successfully grown real well yet, is the ashwagandha. Now, I did grow some last year. It got to the point where I was starting to get the little husk-like berries on it. It's kind of makes you think of a ground cherry or even a really tiny tomatillo. I will go ahead and insert a picture of what the ashwagandha looks like when it's got its little berries and stuff on it right here. Mine were just starting to get those little husks on it before the weather set in, and the cold weather, and then it died back. Now, from what I understand, it is supposed to be a perennial, and so I have a few plants and I'm hoping they'll come back, but I don't know that they will. So I'm starting more seed this year that I've got started in the greenhouse, and we'll see how it does, because I'd really like to grow it myself. Now, I use the ashwagandha root powder every day in my homemade jet fueled latte blend, and I have a recipe on that, and I'll link to that right up here. I know other people have tried it and find it works really well for them. And here I'm going to read off to you this list that I got from Dr. Josh Axe's webpage of all the things that the top 11 things that ashwagandha is good for. It improves thyroid function, relieves adrenal fatigue, combats stress and anxiety, improves depression, balances blood sugar levels, helps fight cancer, reduces brain cell degeneration and improves memory, boosts immune function, increases stamina and endurance, helps to increase muscle strength, and helps to improve sexual function and fertility. It's the top number one here was the thyroid function, is why this was so important to me to have the ashwagandha, because some of you may know that Mr. Rain and I used to be on thyroid medications for 15 years until I finally said that's enough, I'm taking us off of them, and then did some research to find things that I could add to our diet that would help improve our thyroid function so it could do what it was meant to do on its own without the help of pharmaceutical drugs. So that one was really important. But then the added thing of, relieving stress and adrenal fatigue was also very important. And then also, as a woman my age who's going through, who's gone through the change, I'm kind of at the tail end, still dealing with the hot flashes and stuff, the ashwagandha really helps with that. So if you're a woman my age and dealing with that, that's something you may want to consider. Or if you have thyroid issues and you're trying to get off the big pharma drugs as well, I would look into the ashwagandha. So because of that, this is why I'm really hoping to eventually get to a point where I can grow it myself. I still don't know for sure if it's something that I'll ever be able to really get to grow well here, but I'm going to keep trying, because to me this is one of the most important herbs for us. But even if I can't, then I'll be looking into more herbs that will do something similar. And that's what you have to realize, is if you can't get an herb to grow where you're at, there are other herbs out there that do very, very similar things. Borage, for instance, grows pretty well in a lot of places, and it is also an adaptogen, similar in some ways to the ashwagandha, though not entirely. So look at all your different things, and I have a video that's either going to be coming out after this one, and if it's already out, I'll link to it up here, and that will be about ways that you can do research into different herbs to help with different health issues and so on, and learning about the nutrients you need. And so watch for that to come out if it's not already out, and then combining with this with some of my other herb videos as well, hopefully you can find something that works really well for you. So I'm going to go ahead and close this video up, and please don't forget to check out the other 3 channels that are involved in this collaboration. Again, that's Living Traditions Homestead, Spend Smart, Live Happy, and Homestead Tessie. And I'm curious to see what they're going to say. So look for those in the description box and check out their videos. And hopefully you'll take the time to also subscribe to them. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.